Why did so many of Henry VIII's children die? Katherine of Aragon gave birth 6 times. Her first child, a daughter, was stillborn. In 1510, Katherine gave birth to a healthy son named Henry, who tragically died 52 days after he was born. 2 more infants were stillborn, and another, a girl, died within weeks of birth. Only 1 child survived to adulthood, a daughter named Mary, born in 1516. Katherine of Aragon fasted during her pregnancies for religious reasons, which would not have helped her keep enough vitamins to provide nutrients for her growing child. It has been rumoured that the Queen was anorexic, and research suggests that both miscarriage and underweight babies can be linked to eating disorders. The Queen did gain weight over the years and continued to get pregnant, so this may not have been a contributing factor in her losses. Poor medical care and hygiene could have been responsible, or any number of complications during the birth of her children. Queries have also been raised about Henry VIII's fertility and why so many of his children died in infancy or in the womb. One theory is that Henry suffered from McLeod syndrome, a neurological disorder that occurs almost exclusively in boys and men and affects movement in many parts of the body. This would have made his desire for a male heir even harder to achieve. However, Elizabeth Blount gave birth to 2 of his children that survived into adulthood. Henry was one of 7 children, and only 4 lived beyond infancy, which was not unusual in the age of high infant mortality. Katherine of Aragon also came from a family of 7, and 2 of her siblings were stillborn. Thus, there was a history of infant mortality on both sides, which may or may not be significant. Henry's second wife, Anne Boleyn, became pregnant 4 times. She herself was born of parents who had a child every year, although only 3 lived to adulthood. Her first child was a daughter, Elizabeth I, but her second child died at near full term and was almost certainly a son. Her 3rd and 4th pregnancies ended in miscarriage, the latter of a son. The pattern of losses could be explained if Henry's blood was Rhesus positive and Anne's was Rhesus negative. Blood types are tested during early pregnancy nowadays. However, during the late 1600s there was no such technology. The first pregnancy is unaffected, but during labour tiny amounts of the baby's blood can cross the placenta into the mother's bloodstream, and if the baby is Rhesus positive, the mother will produce antibodies which would recognise the baby as a foreign object and would kill any future pregnancies that also had positive blood. In Henry's day, this condition would invariably have resulted in subsequent stillbirths. Worse still for Henry and Anne's hopes, if she had this condition, she could never have borne another living child. Henry had a son by Jane Seymour and 1 acknowledged illegitimate son, Henry Fitzroy, by Elizabeth Blount. He almost certainly had 3 illegitimate daughters, who grew to adulthood. This, then, was a man who fathered 15 children, 8 of whom were probably sons, and 7 who lived beyond childhood. On this evidence, it is not possible to say with any certainty that Henry's lack of issue was due to any condition he may have suffered, and lacking other evidence, we can only conclude that the losses Katherine suffered were just tragic examples of what could happen in an age that did not perfectly understand childbirth.